wait, what's Metalstorm? It's a truly free-to-play game. Engage in live 5v5 air combat with friends and other real players across the world. Collect and upgrade the world's most advanced and legendary jets and dominate the skies. Available on both PC and mobile devices. Join for free today and conquer the skies. Only on Metalstorm.
Hey guys, it's Breezy back. You know what I feel? I feel a need for speed. That's going to be the F14 Tomcat, boys. You guys know where we're going. You've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the description. Let's do it. But before we get into that, please do us a favor. Like, sub, for Kegs, hit that noti bell, and let me send it over to you know who he is, Big Duke 6. Hit him with it, Duke.
I have played many aircraft fighter games from 1944 to Metalstorm. I even beat the game Crimson Skies in a Chuck E. Cheese in Pensacola, Florida. And throughout all the fighter games I've ever played, the most common call signs are Maverick, Goose, and Iceman. Our next Wings of Metalstorm bird is, yes, you guessed it, the famous and deadly F14 Tomcat, the swing wing hammer of the U.S. Navy, for many years, made famous in movies and games alike. And oh, by the way, Maverick, I know hindsight is 20/20, but throttle to idle, ailerons neutral, applying opposite rudder, elevator full forward, recover from the dive. You just recovered from a flat spin. First day of flight school should have taught you that. But the F-14A might not recover from this, so we'll cut you some slack this time, brother. A big, powerful bird, the F-14's roles were an air superiority fighter, interceptor, and multi-role aircraft. Developed by Grumman, a naval pillar since World War II, Grumman had yet again answered the Navy's call for a fighter. Its first flight was in December 1970 and was introduced in September of 1974 aboard the USS Enterprise, replacing the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II. The F-14 for many years was the U.S. Navy's primary air superiority fighter, fleet defense interceptor, and tactical aerial recon platform. In the 1990s, the advent of the low-altitude navigation and targeting infrared for night, Lantern as it was known, allowed the Tomcat to start and successfully perform ground attack missions. Starting in the 1950s, the U.S. Navy sought a high-endurance, long-range interceptor to defend carrier groups from anti-ship missiles and planes that could be launched by the Soviet Union. The Fleet Air Defense, FAD, detailed aircraft with longer-reaching radar and longer-range missiles to replace the F-4 Phantom II. Thus started the Douglas F-6D Missileer project of the late 50s. But due to it being so underwhelming, it was scrapped in '61. The Navy was participating in the Tactical Fighter Experimental Program with the Air Force, and the original TFX aircraft had speed, range, and payload, but was more an interdictor, not an interceptor, and was found wanting in a dogfight. The Navy expressed its fear in this, and the project, which was the F-111B, was eventually backed out of by the Navy and scrapped. In 1966, the Navy awarded Grumman a contract to improve their 303 prototype experimental for Navy use. One of the reasons Tomcat was donned and used by the F-14, Admiral Thomas F. Connolly, who beloved Tom's Cat, the 303 prototype, paid tribute to Admiral Connolly with his involvement in the 303 program known as Tom's Cat. When changed to Tomcat, the F-14 followed a Grumman naval tradition which followed the Wildcat, Hellcat, Tiger Cat, and Bearcat, as well as jets Panther, Cougar, and Tiger. Other names proposed was the Sea Cat, which was scrapped, and Alley Cat, which was scrapped due to having sexual connotations. During the Vietnam War, the Navy realized the F-4 Phantom II could not keep up in a dogfight with MiG-21s and any other MiGs newer. Something had to be done. And at the same time, Admiral Connolly flew the F-111A and discovered not only was the aardvark having issues reaching supersonic speeds, but also had very poor carrier landing characteristics. And he testified before Congress stating these issues, which Congress scrapped the F-111B program, allowing the Navy to find what aircraft it readily needed. Choosing what they needed, the VFAX program was in favor of a new design that met requirements of FAD and the VFAX programs, basically combining prototypes. In '68, Naval Air System Command issued requests for proposals for the Naval Fighter Experimental, the VFX. It called for a tandem seat, twin engine Mach 2.3, as well as carrier capable, to have an M61 rotary cannon and to carry 6 AIM-54 Phoenix or a combo of 6 Sparrows or 4 AIM-9 Sidewinders. Bids were issued by General Dynamics, Grumman, McDonnell Douglas, and North American Rockwell, and all with variable geometry wings. Grumman, having a long naval history, won the contract in December '68, and its 303 prototype design was the project selection. Though lighter than the F-111B, the Project F-14 was still the largest, heaviest fighter in naval history. The Grumman Calverton, New Jersey facility was greatly expanded to get geared up for the F-14, and due to a new presidential administration, the Navy bypassed the prototype phase, going straight to development. The Air Force followed suit with its McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle. Only 22 months after Grumman won the contract, on December 21st, 1970, the F-14 Tomcat made its first flight, reaching initial operational capacity IOC in '73. The Marines were interested in the F-14, but backed out due to it not having a ground attack platform, which it did not have until the 1990s with the advent of Lantern. In 1972, the F-14 underwent missile testing with the longest single Phoenix missile launch recorded that scored a hit at 110 nautical miles. Though not all missile testing went as planned, one Tomcat and its pilot had its own missile explode at launch, downing the said aircraft. Luckily, the pilot ejected and survived this unfortunate incident. Another unusual test was performed, firing 6 missiles within 38 seconds at Mach 0.78 and at 24,000 feet, with 4 scores being direct hits. 1 broke the lock and missed, and the last was considered no test. 4 out of 6, not bad. The older the F-14 got, the more improvements it received. It allowed for better ECCM, electronic countermeasures, and more space for a rocket motor, among other things. It could carry state-of-the-art AIM-54C Phoenix radar active air-to-air missiles, the AIM-7M Sparrow, the AIM-9 Sidewinder heat-seeking missile. Fun fact, a complement of 6 AIM-54 Phoenix missiles was known as the John Wayne loadout to the F-14 crews. In 1984, the Tomcat's engines were to be replaced with GE F-110 GE 400 turbofan engines, keeping the original avionics. These particular aircraft were designated the F-14A Plus. The F-14D was developed at the same time, and it included the GE 110 turbofan, but also had newer digital avionics systems, a glass cockpit, and capable and compatible with the Link 16 secure data link network. The Navy also had the FIR forward-looking infrared system for night operations and a laser designator to guide laser-guided missiles and bombs to target. The Lantern also had the GPS INS system capability for global positioning. Martin Marietta developed an interface card for Lantern for the RIO, the Radar Intercept Officer, to receive imagery on a display, and gave the RIO a hand controller to guide LGBs And eventually the Tomcat could carry the lantern and tarp systems.
We really hope you enjoyed this and continue to enjoy the content that we'll put out, whether it's ships, subs, planes, cars, trains, automobiles, maybe even reactions. Who knows? A little bit of everything. I guess with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Blue skies, and happy hunting.